8 to 5 o'clock tip at the Farrell Center. So here's a graphic. The Big 12 Conference, the toughest remaining schedules in the country, according to NCAA stats. 1 through 10, everybody is a member of the Big 12 in men's basketball.
Yeah.
They're just going to, it's like, again, like turning around, getting punched in the face everywhere you go, home, away, no matter what.
Yeah. Look, I get that West Virginia is 0-4 and Baylor's 1-3, and you've got some teams like Texas Tech is struggling, but none of those teams stink, right? They're just going to have a hard time in this league. Baylor, as a matter of fact, is shocking that they're 1-3 at this point. I do think that a win the other night might alleviate some of the stress on them of pressing to try to get that first win, but nothing's going to get easy for anybody down the rest of the stretch because the league is absolutely, just a gauntlet. And then you throw in the SEC. Well, Baylor has freaking Arkansas on there. Baylor has Arkansas on the remaining Big 12 schedule and Kansas twice, and they're tied for 7th.
Yep.
That tells you how tough the other ones are.
Yeah, I mean, it's like running, through a gauntlet. It really is. It's the basketball version of what people portray the SEC in football as, basically, except for it's deeper. It's 1 through 10. It's not 1 through 5, and let's give credit to 5 more and then pretend like, Vanderbilt's better than other teams' 14th best team or whatever, And I don't mean there's a slight, but that is how it's portrayed. It's like it's the whole it's like, no, it's like half at best, and the top quarter is elite. Mm-hmm. Let's give them credit. Like there's a handful of potentially elite teams and certainly like 2 to 3 to 4 every year. And that could very well be the case here. I think there's close to a handful of teams that you can't really say right now one way or the other, like, do they have championship potential? They very well may. I think there's obviously a lot more season to go, but this isn't a team that's just, or a league that's just top heavy and it's like everybody gets credit for it. Truly, like 1 through 10, it's pretty tough. And yes, there are some teams on the back end right now, like a West Virginia, that has got major question marks. And so maybe it's not 1 through 10 bulletproof, but it's still a grinder. And it's still, a tough league. And clearly right now, the toughest league, on paper, based on who you want to talk to, you want to go statistically. They've got an argument as the best, and so to win that league, it's gonna take a great team. And right now, I think there's a few different candidates.
Yeah, like I don't think to your saying about anybody in the Big 12 could win any other league. Like Oklahoma State is kind of they're good. They're not as deep talent wise as most of the other teams in front of them. That's who Baylor plays tomorrow. They can beat anybody in the league, but I don't think if you put them all of a sudden in the Pac-12 it's just also a good league. It's not a good example, but if you put them in another basketball league that Oklahoma State was definitely going to go win that, like they might win a couple of more games. It's the same reason in football. I don't believe that you just put Mississippi State in the Big 12 that they would win it right away. I mean, they might, again, pick up a win because you don't have to play Alabama, but I still think that you kind of are who you are. Outside of the elite.
Yeah, don't let me if I said it that way and say it that way, that it sound like the back half is as competitive as the top half. No, I mean, they're still top heavy in the Big 12. It's not 1 through 10 is great, but I think as far as grinding goes, like every single team that you play, it is not going to be easy. And if you get a big blowaway win, then surprise and congrats to you, because typically – it doesn't matter who you're playing. If they got Big 12 on their chest, you're going to be probably in a war with them. And, I think it's a fun league, man. It really is. The way that it's evolved over these last few years has been tremendous to watch, and a lot of the credit goes to the coaching and obviously the talent as well. But it's turned into a grinder, man. It really has.
Alvin Brooks III, Baylor assistant coach, will join us today just after about 5:15 or 5:20, following Dr. Livingstone, who will join us at 5, Baylor president and part of the transformational committee. But if you look at Baylor's 3 losses in the conference, 2 of them been excruciating. The loss at home to TCU and the loss at home to Kansas State. They're both 4-0 in the conference. I mean, and on the road against Iowa State, 4-0. TCU just lost the game to Texas, blew a 20-something point lead. But 2 of the teams they lost to, Kansas State and Iowa State, are 4-0. So it is a battering ram. A gauntlet's a great word. And so there is that with the stat. When we